Hello and welcome to another edition of the Moving Iron Podcast. This podcast is proudly provided by Axon, helping dealers move more iron for almost 100 years. Find out more at axontire.com. Axon was started almost 100 years ago out of a passion for keeping agriculture moving. It's that same passion that drives them today. With a vision for a better experience for both farmer and dealer, they set out to create a better way to move more iron. When you partner with Axon, you get immediate access to a full range of products and solutions designed to meet the complex needs of today's grower. Axon carries all major brands and sizes of tires, wheels, and tracks. From custom colors and sizes to fully customized wheels, you can have the solution for virtually any problem today's farmer is trying to solve. To find more or become an Axon dealer, please visit axontire.com.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving iron, time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here. Moving iron.
Hello and welcome to Moving Iron Podcast Markets. This edition of the Moving Iron Podcast is brought to you by Axon Tire, helping dealers move more iron for the past 100 years. For more information, go to axontire.com. Also, if you're looking for a great place to help your salespeople sell more stuff, go to heyarrow.com and check out what Arrow has to offer as far as CRM goes. It's a really great product that really frees up your salespeople to sell stuff and not do as much paperwork. So if you're interested in that, go to heyarrow.com and see what they have to offer. As normal, I have Chip Nellinger from Blue Reef Agri-Marketing on with us here, and Chip's nice enough to come on a couple times a week to talk about what's going on. And typically we go together on Mondays, but Tuesday we got a big report coming out here today that could have some impact on the market, and I wanted to get Chip on today to get his insides as to what might be coming down the pike here. So Chip, how you doing this morning, man?
Hey, doing well. It's kind of an ugly day in the markets here, but we got a lot happening here coming into about an hour and 45 minutes. The October crop report, the market obviously, in the case of beans, is expecting higher yields. The price action over the last week and a half would tell you that. Going back here to the September 30th stocks report was bigger than expected on beans. We've had nothing but lower prices since then. A couple intraday rally attempts were quickly repelled, and we're coming in to this report on multi-month lows. We're currently down about 12 cents, 12.16 and a quarter. November beans, lowest we've been in many months. We'll see what the USDA says. The market's expecting at least a half a bushel increase in yields. The highest estimates about a bushel, 1.1 bushel increase in bean yields. I would say at this stage, a lot of bearishness digested, so you have to be on the lookout for a bearish report and a bullish reaction. The other big thing in the bean market is China's back from a holiday. We had Columbus Day yesterday. Washington USDA offices were closed, so no export inspections or daily export reporting. And come in this morning, we did sell some corn to Mexico, but no beans to China, and that's a real disappointment to the market right now. About midway through October, they should be picking up the pace of their buying, and the market's just not seeing enough out of China in beans. So a little bit scary there. The corn side of the equation, corn's, with beans imploding like they have, corn's, kind of getting into the selling pressure in here too, down 7 cents right now, 5.26. Still kind of in this sloppy range that corn's been in. Mixed bag in the corn, so we're set for some fireworks here at 11. You got one side of the equation thinks that yields are going higher, possibly 2 to 2.5 bushels higher. You got another side of the camp that thinks you got a 2 bushel cut coming. So 4.5, 5 bushel swing high to low on expectations for corn yields, and to me that means we're set up for some fireworks. Coming into it on the low end of the equation here, though, similar to beans, if they're unchanged or a slight cut in corn yields, you got to look for some sort of a bullish reaction now that we're kind of on the lows of the last several trading sessions in here. So pretty poor action going into the October report. A lot of fear that the USDA is going to pull the rug out from under us here and kind of throw some cold water on the bullish fire we had here a couple months ago.
Right. So as you're talking to the people that you deal with and all over, Iowa, Illinois, in those areas, Missouri, and what have you, in those key growing soybean growing states. Wow, I can't talk this morning. What's your thought on that? I mean, are you talking to guys like, man, these are the best soybeans I've ever had, or I mean, kind of is it a mixed bag? I mean, what are you hearing out there?
Mixed bag. A mixed bag. What I'm finding, some really good yields, some yields that are less than a year ago. It's all over the board, and that's what makes it that much harder to figure out, what's out there. And so we'll see. I don't argue that USDA could go up just a touch, but there's a mixed bag, and there's a lot of people out there that are a little bit disappointed and have yields that aren't even up to a year ago. And obviously, Western Corn Belt with the drought they had, maybe the expectations, reality versus expectations, a little bit better yields than they expected, but still way under average. And so it just makes it really tough to figure out what's out there. So I've heard a lot of beans in the 70s to mid 70s. You don't hear many over 80. There are some out there. You hear a lot in the upper 50s to low 60s. And then, that's kind of in the heart of the Corn Belt here. And then you've kind of got the fringe areas, that aren't going to be that high. And then the areas that were hit by drought that are well below average. And so it's tough to figure out where that is going to shake us out here. But we're going to know. I mean, this October report isn't the last report. Obviously, they've got November and January to continue to tweak this. But this is a good snapshot. It's first report of the season where they actually go out and they weigh ears, they weigh pods, they take actual harvested data. If the field's been harvested, they try their best to try to get that from the farmer. And so it's a pretty good snapshot in a lot of field samples. And so it's going to dictate price action here, for the foreseeable future.
Yep. So on the corn side, same conversation when you're talking to your clients out there. I mean, what are they saying about their corn yields they see?
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah,
very similar. It's hard to peg it. Very regional in nature. Southern Illinois, in general, probably some of the best yields they've ever had. You get the northern half of Illinois. It's a little bit of a mixed bag. We had a lot of wind. We had a lot of tar spot. We had a little bit of everything. Corn dried down too fast, and so a lot of guys in the northern half of Illinois a little bit disappointed. It's not horrible corn. Still pretty solid yields, but it's maybe 40 to 60 bushels below what maybe the absolute potential of this crop was. And so guys are a little disappointed in that. Indiana's a very mixed bag. So what makes it harder in, the Western Corn Belt, they had drought all year and fought hot, dry conditions. And those guys are pleased with yields, because their bar was so low because of the drought. They're coming in and their yields are a little better than expected, maybe not up to, APH or just at APH, but they're still very pleased with that given the conditions. Kind of the opposite here. We had guys with, 260, 270, 280 farm averages, dancing in their head. And the reality is it's going to be well under that and still good, strong yields, but disappointing given, what our potential was. So that, again, how's that going to the pot? It's hard, maybe one of the hardest years that we've seen in a long time to kind of figure out what's out there. USDA, again, though, has, I don't know how many, several thousand field samples here across the Corn Belt, and they're going to have good data. And we're going to get that, here in about an hour and 35 minutes, I guess.
Yep. Okay. Let's do this real quick. So let's talk about two things. One, you start looking at wheat, and wheat is just in bad shape. I mean, from a supply standpoint, I mean, around the world, it's just continues. The news continues to come out that it's worse. If you look at France, they have a report out this morning. They're making another cut to their wheat crop estimate. As you take a look at that, Russian exports are climbing for the 13th week in a row. So, I mean, you just got all these factors that are kind of piling back onto wheat here a little bit. And wheat's been a strong performer here for the last couple of months for sure. So I guess as you take a look at wheat and all the stuff that's going on there, especially as we go through fall planting of winter wheat, I guess. So what's your thoughts about the wheat market and where do you see it headed?
Yeah, it's an interesting makeup. Wheat certainly is one of the strongest things going right now for all those issues that you said. Also, you're throwing on and starting to get some press about this potential I don't want to call it I guess I'll say nitrogen shortage.
Right.
Certainly, it's as high as price it's been since 2008, maybe a touch higher than that, to be honest with you. And so there's starting to be some talk about that. And wheat is one of the strongest things going right now. So it's a weird situation. Usually for years and years, wheat was the weak link in things, and now wheat is the strongest thing, the war horse here. Corn's caught in the middle between really weak bean prices here recently and the strong corn, or strong wheat, I should say. And so you got a lot of pushing and pulling here, a lot of intra-commodity spread type situations. You got oats at all-time highs because of the drought in the Canadian prairies and the northern plains of the United States. And so feed grains in particular is pretty tight across the world. And maybe one of the tightest things right now is the wheat. So that is maybe a little bit of a wild card in here. Does the wheat market have higher to go? We're up, within a few cents of recent highs in here. Spring wheat, Minneapolis wheat, has kind of taken back over as the leader. It's north of $8.50. Still haven't heard the end of that story as far as tight supplies because of the drought situation. And it just seems like it gets a little bit worse each day almost from the case of Russia. They keep increasing their export tax. And, where there's smoke, there's fire, whether that's because of the crop being less than expected or the fact that we've got some supply chain issues and Russia does not want to, they want to maybe keep more domestic stocks on hand than what they normally do because of the supply situation and rising prices. Whether it's a combination of one or both or multiple issues, they're going to have less wheat on, the export market out of the Black Sea. Europe has their own issues. And guess what? We've got a good store of wheat here, and we're going to, I think, when it's said and done, see a pretty nice benefit on the export side of our wheat. And so that's something that's still ongoing. We'll get some wheat numbers today, too, from across the world and domestically. But, the production side of that report is going to be more dynamic or, I guess, questionable on corn and beans. The wheat thing is a little bit old news as far as, the production number. But we certainly could see some tweaks on some world numbers. The market will watch that pretty closely to see what our world wheat carryout does, as well as our domestic wheat carryout. But probably not a lot of changes on the wheat side domestically to expect, but the market will be pretty adamant looking at the world numbers to see if stocks are still shrinking.
Yep. All right, so let's jump down and look at South America real quick. Brazil has had some very timely rains as you take a look at their soybean planting, but Argentina can't seem to buy a drop of rain. And on top of that, Argentina is starting to do some stuff with their corn exports as they, look at prioritizing international sales before they do anything, for forward selling of crops. So I guess as you take a look at those dynamics and how those are going to play together, what's your thoughts there?
Yeah, mixed bag. Very early on there, they're just starting planting down there in the southern hemisphere. Massive increase in acreage is what it looks like out of Brazil. That's probably another thing that's a little bit of cold water on the bean market, especially. Now, it's one thing to project those numbers. It's another thing, to plant it and get through the whole growing season and produce that crop. But they look to expand their acres as well as their production really across the board in all the crops that they raise. It's still very profitable for the Brazilian farmer. And that's, something that's a little bit of cold water from a supply issue as well. Now, that's not going to be till later this winter, early spring, that you see those supplies hit the market. But they have really kind of got off to a pretty good start planting. As you mentioned, some pretty good timely rains in Brazil. Looks like the hot spot's going to be Argentina, though. It's a La Nina year. And what that means is historically, Argentina trends towards drier conditions, and they're certainly on the dry side right now. So weather is going to be a big issue on into winter for South America. It looks like the hot spot or the trouble area might be Argentina, and that certainly could be something that the market it has yet to play out. If they continue on the dry side, that's definitely going to be an influence as far as the world supply goes. And so a lot of fun and games, throw in the economy and inflation and what's the Federal Reserve going to do with interest rates and growth and supply chain issues and nitrogen and fertilizer costs, chemical availability. It's kind of a partly cloudy world out there trying to read the tea leaves right now, and a lot is going to hit this market here in the next 4 or 5 months.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Chip, good stuff as usual. Folks want to reach out to you and get more information on how to work that plan that they've got in front of them. What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, best way is just give us a call at the office, and that number is 309-550-7213. We would love to talk to you. A lot of uncertainty, more important than it ever has been to have a plan and execute on that plan when we have profitable levels. So very important time frame coming up here the next few months as far as our commodity markets go.
That's for sure. Well, I'm Casey Seymour with Moving Iron Podcast. Make sure you check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also go to Moving Iron LLC to find everything that is Moving Iron. Moving Iron Summit, check that out. It should be coming up with some more information here in about 30 days or so. Kind of start at least picking the place we're going to be at and start announcing some speakers and those kind of things. So make sure you check that out. So with that, I'm Casey Seymour with Chip Nellinger. Let's go be smart, folks. Out. You want to have a meaningful competitive advantage to help sell more equipment. Whether you represent the sales, parts, or management department of an implement dealership, there's a surprising amount of complexity when it comes to tire, wheel, and track technology. Let Axon worry about that so you can get back to supporting your customers. Axon has leveraged years of experience to create a streamlined process that gives you a proven path to help today's grower and sell more equipment. The roots of their organization go back almost 100 years to the invention of the rubber tractor tire. Supporting agriculture is the number one driver of Axon, from product development through sales and service. To find more or become an Axon dealer, head over to axontire.com.
Moving higher in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving higher, time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here. Moving higher.